What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day today so far. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some events that are going to line up with the champion chase for the ongoing Pelops fusion. So if you guys are doing the Pelops fusion, this champion chase is a must do unless you did the epic already, or if you pulled the epic, or if you pulled some of the rares along the way. So what do we got for you guys here today? So right above my head, hey everybody, this weekend we're planning to launch a few events simultaneously. On Friday, March 13th, so that's going to be day one of the champion chase. We're planning to launch a 2x boosted event for ancients and void shards and sacred shards. So all three of these shards will be boosted. So we got ancients, voids, and sacred shards. So the rates will go double time. So you got 1% chance to pull legendary from ancients and voids, and then 12% chance to pull sacred shards. Get a legendary from sacred shards, excuse me. So also at the same time that they're doing this boosted event, they're also giving a 10x boost on some fun champions here. So first up, we got Cabaron the Underflamed. So Cabaron is one of the brand new Argonite champions. I did do a little bit of a showcase on him. I mean, with a bunch of other Argonauts yesterday. So make sure you guys check out the video on that. And then we have another boosted event for Storm Herald Hecaten. So Storm Herald Hecaten is absolutely insane void champion. I mean, clearly the best champion for the brand new Argonites, but he's definitely going to be very powerful for a lot of accounts. Again, you guys can check out the showcase on him. He's just a powerhouse engine of a champion. This event will last 24 hours. So the way it's kind of worded, it's kind of weird. So I assume that this boosted 2x rate for Ancients, Voids, and Sacred Shards is going to last the entire weekend, the entire duration of the champion chase. And then you have a one-day event for this 10x on Cabaron and 10x on Storm Herald Hecaten. After that, on Saturday, so the next day, we're planning to launch a 10x boost to on Basim. So Basim, one of the Assassin's Creed characters, and then also a 10x for Beic from the Void Shards. And then that's going to last 24 hours. And then the final note here, which confirms what I was just saying about the boosted event lasting the entire weekend. They're saying that the 10x events will last, will be shorter than the duration of the 2x event. So if you don't want any of these champions, you guys can pull on the very last day and then have no boost on any of this stuff. All right, so keep in mind that it's only going to be a 10x boost. It's not like the regular 15x with the progressive and all that stuff. So the 10x boost is, significantly worse in terms of just odds of fishing out that champion that you guys are looking for. For example, a 10x boost on a champion from an ancient or a sacred shard, you're probably looking at less than 5% chance at pulling that specific champion if you manage to pull a legendary. And then a 10x boost on the Void champion from Void Shard. Again, you're probably looking at about 10% chance. So if you pull a Void legendary, you got 10% chance of getting whatever legendary is boosted at that time. So it's not as good as those regular progressive events, but also you do have the boosted chance to pull a legendary from those shards. So I'm not sure which one is better, whether 15x is better or 10x plus a 2x. I would like a 2x, rather get gold than get nothing at all. So what are they selling here, right? So they're selling the Cabaron, the Underflamed, and then Storm Herald, and then they're also selling Basim and Beic. So they're going for the Argonites. Let's check out some of these champions here. Like I said, I did do some showcases on these. You guys can check them out. So we got Cabaron the Underflamed here. He's a decent attack-based damage dealer. He doesn't have crazy attack or anything like that. But what I really like about him is that he does have a cheat death. He does have a cheat death ability here. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, but he activates a delay effect. So basically, he doesn't take the fatal damage right away. Instead, he takes it the next turn. So if you go into the info tab, you can read in detail exactly what the delay debuff or buff or whatever it is, status effect actually does. So it prevents the champion from receiving fatal damage. Instead, it delays it until the next turn. Champion under delay can still be killed by enemies on their turn. If a champion under delay receives healing equals to the amount of delayed damage, they will not receive any damage the next turn. If they receive some healing, but not enough to equal the value of the delayed damage, they will receive the amount of delayed damage remaining. So it's kind of interesting because it allows you to kind of survive if you have a way to survive, like out heal the damage that you took. So I do like that for about Cabaron. It's very nice. He does have a bunch of heals here because he can heal from HP burns activating. So it kind of synergizes pretty well with the delay effect. He does have a death brand, which is interesting because that's basically a block revive, which is very nice. He goes through unkillable, which is really nice because, like I was saying in previous videos, unkillable is a little bit of a trouble, like a trouble spot for some champions or some accounts because it's not the easiest thing to get rid of or go through. Just remember how many times a single Leonardo killed your team, for example, or Nice, for example, right? Sorry, not Nice. I was thinking like the Theodosa. Theodosa, when they revive, they get unkillable and stuff like that. So those type of champions, this guy can kind of deal with. He does bring increased accuracy in his kit, a little bit of HP burn and stuff like that. He does require accuracy to land Death Brand. He does have a decreased defense on his A1. A little bit of accuracy, probably, yeah, definitely needed for his kit. He's an interesting champion. He can bring some PvE, a little bit of PvE damage with his HP burn. Death Brand, obviously going to be mostly a PvP focused ability, but not a bad champion. Has an interesting kit, can be useful. And he's brand new in the Argonite faction. So after that, for the Void champions for the Void boosted event on day one, we have Storm Herald, Hecaten. This guy's absolutely insane. He's got the craziest A1, I guess, probably. One of the craziest A1s in the game. He has a ridiculous ability here on the A2. The Storm Call buff on your entire team is so crazy. And the fact that he goes through 50% of the target's defense and Stone Skin on a 3-turn cooldown, and he self-buffs himself with increased defense as well as the rest of your team. And he also has the ability to always crit if you have tons of buffs on him. And then he has this increased crit rate, block damage, counterattack, single target, and then a team-wide 25% Tremere boost, which is really nice as well. His passive is where all his PvE damage is going to come from. Max HP hits from anybody with a Stormcall buff landing crits. So he's buffing everybody, they're landing crits, and then you're doing max HP damage. It's just really, really crazy amounts of damage. And to cap it all off, he has a speed in all battles. Really strong champion for the Argonites, and I was saying like he has kind of a kit strong enough to be like a faction unity champion almost. And yeah, he's Void Affinity as well. He hits hard, great debuffs, great buffs, great PvE, great PvP performance, great champ. So that's going to be day one for the 10x boost. So first we have the Argonites, and after that we have the Assassin's Creed champion. So I don't know about you guys, but I kind of forgot about the Assassin's Creed for a little bit. A lot of the hype definitely went when I saw that winner take all for Beic. A lot of the hype definitely went out the window, to be honest. But on day two, we got a 10x boost for Basim and then a 10x boost for Beic. So Basim, right here, he was already offered as a guaranteed champion in a deck of Fate a couple weeks ago already. I decided to pass on him because I just don't see how this guy is worth the resources. Like, I believe it was Soul Stones or something. So I decided to pass on him. He's not a bad champion, but he's a fine, normal, okay champion. He's got an A1 weekend debuff spread, gets some benefit if he's under Veil. His A2 is where all his damage comes from. 3-turn cooldown AoE attack, 30% ignore defense if he's under Veil, 100% chance to land block actives, which is very strong. Unfortunately for both these abilities, even if he's under Veil, he still requires accuracy to land the debuffs, which is a big, big bummer. His A3, good thing about this is that he does place Perfect Veil on himself, which is good. So he has a single target hit here, damage boosted by the amount of debuffs on himself and the target up to 100%. So 20 debuffs spread across himself and the target can stack up to 100%. And then he places Veil on himself and then he gets an extra turn. This is on a 4-turn cooldown. I like the Veil that he can put on himself. He doesn't require other people to put Veil on him, which is good. But his kit doesn't seem to be very, very powerful with Veil. I mean, it's good, it's better. You get an extra 15% ignore defense. But like I said, you still require accuracy for the block actives, which is a big, big killer for him. His passive here, everything is permitted. The same passive as all the assassins. You get a little bit of damage boost if you hit them under 25% for the first time. And then his own passive, whenever this champion is attacked, he steals one random buff from the attacker and transfer one's random debuff from this champion to the attacker. These effects will ignore polymorph. And then he also ignores 25% of the target's resistance when using skills if they're under Perfect Veil or Veil. So he could have had a passive where he says just he doesn't require accuracy at all if he's under veil. That would have been just fine. But yeah, making him basically require accuracy, at least a little bit of accuracy, to land and block actives. I don't really like that. So that hurts his build a little bit. He doesn't have crazy base attack or anything like that. This ability hits okay, and the block actives is very nice. I like the synergy with the perfect veil, but he's probably the worst Assassin's Creed character. Like, I kind of like Cassandra a little bit more, I guess, because she's in the Argonites and they don't really have much. But Basim, yeah, he's probably the worst character. Very like plain, very plain kit overall. I don't like this passive. The first passive, the thief passive, isn't very good because you don't really want him to get hit. So that's the first thing. And then I don't like how he requires accuracy in his kit. So he's going to be up for grabs on day 2 in a 10x boost. And then we do have, I would say, the best champion in the Assassin's Creed collab. We have Beic from the Barbarian faction here. Beic. He was already offered as a guarantee for a winner take all champion chase event. He's very good. He's very good. Crazy base defense here. His passive is what makes him crazy, which makes him unique. This champion and their allies cannot receive crit hits from enemies whose accuracy is equal to or lower than their own. So as long as him and his team, or him and the champions on his team, have high accuracy and the other team doesn't have high accuracy, nobody can crit. And that's absolutely insane because if you can't crit, you're doing so little damage. And if you bring a team that can recover, it's just crazy. It's very frustrating to play against this guy if you have him in the right setup. He's got an A1 leech, turn meter fill, very solid A1, good for lots of content. The leech, Chimera, for example, clan boss. Got 3-turn AoE, decrease accuracy, decrease resistance with the provoke. Very strong ability here, lots of value. AoE CC with decreased accuracy, further helping his passive. His A3 here, increased accuracy, again, further helping his passive with perfect veil and increased defense on everybody here on a 4-turn cooldown. Very solid, right? Good debuffs. He got 4 debuffs. He's got 3 buffs. Very good for lots of different areas, PvE. And then this passive makes him extremely strong for PvP. Comes with the same everything is permitted passive as well. He can hit okay, but I think you don't necessarily need to build him as damage dealer. You can build him in lots of different ways. But I think for PvP, you definitely want to focus in on this and build a team around him. There's some champions that have high accuracy and do a lot of damage. For example, Marius, because he brings plus accuracy as well. Somebody like Carnage could be very, very good against Beic, mainly because he can shut down the passive. And Carnage also has high accuracy usually. Personally speaking, I would love to still have a chance at Beic. The Assassin's Creed collab ends the first week of April, so we have about 3 weeks left. And we're still waiting for Edward as a guaranteed champion, and then Pontiff, which is the event dungeon boss, which ended already. So it's I don't know. It's really weird. I feel like the hype train for Assassin's Creed definitely faded off really, really hard. They should have just kept Beic as as a winner take all, not a winner take all, as a guaranteed event later on, so people have something to look forward to. Like, it's possible that Plarium perhaps throws a Beic event at some point again, like maybe a guarantee, perhaps, but it's very unlikely. Like, it's just kind of like hopium on my end, maybe copium or whatever, copium. But it's probably for the best because you don't really want to see this guy running around on everybody's team because he's an absolute menace with his passive. Personally speaking, I think for this champion chase, there's a lot of things for everybody. So how do we navigate this champion chase the best we can? If you're going for the fusion, I think obviously you have to go for this event. Like I said, unless you pulled the epic or a rare previously. I would focus in on the ancients and voids, save the sacred shards, because sacred shards, even when it's 2x boosted, it's just not worth a lot of points for champion chase. So definitely save these for Heroes Pass or Summoning Rush events. So definitely focus on the Ancient and Void Shards only. 2x boosted events for Ancient and Void Shards during Champion Chase gives you pretty good point return because you're going to get more epics, or a lot more epics, which are good at basically padding up your points. You can also do things like pull your remnants, For example, pull fragment summons if you got them. For me, I'm going to be pulling my remnants. I got 6 of them, so I saved up quite a bit. You can also be fusing the pieces here. You can fuse the epic pieces. You can fuse 3 of these guys during the champion chase, and that's going to give you a boatload of points as well. And then after, if you manage to get all 4 of the epics, you can also fuse Pelops here for some additional points if you're chasing like a reward after the fusion piece. Now, like I said, for myself, I think I'm probably going to pull for Beic. I'm probably gonna pull my void shards for Beic. And we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be pretty deep. I think it's gonna be a pretty deep pull session for myself. I'm also really close to Mercy as well. This gives me, basically a guaranteed legendary. And then in this case, I can choose which one I want. Storm Hero Hecaten or Beic. Both of them are highly, highly impactful champions. I like Beic a little bit more just because, first of all, he's an exclusive time limited champion. Second of all, his passive is extremely unique, where you can, have to build specifically around him, which is very interesting. And I think he's very, very strong. Storm Hero Hecaten, he's kind of just a crazy, crazy champion. He brings a lot of damage, but I also feel like he kind of can be replaced. But yeah, he just brings a lot. He brings a lot, but I feel like he kind of can be replaced. Whereas Beic can't be replaced. You can't really replace his passive. And after next month, he can't be replaced at all because he's gone, right? So he's time exclusive. So for me, I'm going for Beic, most likely with my void shards. And depending how far I go up into the rewards, there is a big rock in the rewards. Let me just bring up the calendar here real quick. So let me bring up the rewards. The champion chase is right here. So you do see the big rock here. So that's going to be the top end reward and a mythical book. So that's kind of nice. Probably 7,500 for the mythical book, 10,000 for the big rock. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be an event where I most likely cap it out, but you absolutely don't have to. You don't have to cap it out. Just get the fusion piece and get out. Save your resources if you're still interested in, for example, Edward. Edward's still going to be the big guarantee event that hasn't happened yet. So that still has to happen in the next 3 weeks. There's also probably going to be, the perfect souls for some of these champions up for grabs. So if you're still looking for the perfect souls, for example, for Beic, for Edward, for example, they're going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. So you do need resources for that. So maybe you can hold back a little bit this weekend. 2x events come on rotation. So, we don't have to go crazy for it. But 2x ancients with voids on a champion chase is pretty good value with some good champions up for grabs. So obviously gauge your own account and make reasonable decisions and all that. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.